Lazarus is too close not to notice. Today, I wish to share with you a story that spoke to my heart. It is still fresh as the first day. While in seminary, my classmates and I had a trip to San Antonio, Texas. Part of the trip took us to the border. The guide pointed at a wall and said, "This is not just metals and concrete. It is a story. On one side, good houses, security, opportunity, cars, lights, safety. It's heaven. On the other side, faces, tired men and women, mothers clutching children, teenagers with shoes so worn their soles flapped as they walked. Some pressed their palms against the wall. Others shouted across, voices breaking with hope. So close, close enough to see, close enough to hear, close enough to touch, and yet still outside." Then came the harder part of the story. Fathers collapsing in the desert, mothers drowning as they clung to their children, families attacked, people who never made it across. They too were close, close enough to see the lights, close enough to dream of another life. But the door stayed shut, and shut forever. Lazarus is too close not to notice. Is this not what we hear from today's gospel? Today, Jesus tells a story about two individuals, a rich man dressed in purple garments and fine linen, living in comfort. Everything about him speaks of success. He eats well, sleeps well, he enjoys every bit of his life. He lacks nothing. And right at his door is Lazarus, his body broken, his skin covered with sores, so close he can hear the laughter from the inside, so close he can smell the roasted meat, but he longs only for crumbs. The rich man is not condemned because of his wealth, but because of his blindness. He sees but does not really see. He hears but does not really listen. Every day he steps over Lazarus at the door. Every day his heart stayed closed. The wound is not just hunger. The deeper wound is the refusal to notice. Comfort became the rich man's shield, abundance his wall, blindness his downfall. And when death comes, the story flips. Lazarus is carried to safety into Abraham's bosom, while the rich man is left crying for mercy. "Oh, Father Abraham, have pity on me. Send Lazarus to dip his finger in the water and cool my tongue. I'm suffering in torment." The door he once closed has become a chasm, a separation no one can cross. Lazarus is too close not to notice. This is not just their story. It is my story. It is your story. The gospel is a mirror, and when we look through it, we see our own doors. Because Lazarus is still here. He is the man curled in the sidewalk, a blanket pulled tight against the cold. He is the woman under the bridge, pushing a cart with all she owns. He is the young man outside the gas station, eyes hollow, hands trembling. Lazarus is not far away from me and you, my brothers and sisters. He is not only at the border to say, "I never had the opportunity to go to the border." Not only in Mexico to say 1,000 miles to say, "I never crossed the border." Not in Africa, million miles to say, I was hindered by the Pacific Ocean, but He is right here. In our church, in our households, in our streets, here in New Orleans, every day. And too often we do what the rich man does. We keep walking. We grip the wheel tighter at the red lights. We look away before the cardboard sign can catch our eyes. Have we whispered these excuses? We know them well. He must be lazy. She must be an addict. They should just get a job. The government needs to do something. And with these words, we justify closing the doors. Lazarus is too close not to notice. But God does not leave the story here. He blesses Lazarus at the door, not to shame you and me, but to wake us, to make the need impossible to ignore. God does not come with force, but with invitation. Not with anger, but with presence. A presence that will not disappear. A call that keeps tugging at us. Notice, respond, open the door. Lazarus is not forgotten. He has a name. He has a story. He is real. God carries him to safety. He is resting in the bosom of Abraham, relaxing, having fun with no stress. Lazarus has been given the dignity the world once denied him. Respect, care, love. Lazarus is too close not to notice. What does it look like to open the door? A friend of mine once told me about stopping at the gas station. A man outside asked if he could wash his windshield for $1. The easy thing would have been to say no and walk away. But instead, my friend bought him a sandwich and a drink. And for a few minutes, they sat on the curb and talked. He told me later, it was not food. It was the moment of dignity. He just wanted someone to see him. This is how simple it can be. This is what it looks like to open the door. Because God is the man in the sidewalk. God is in the man, in the woman under the bridge. God is in the young man at the gas station, voice quiet, eyes bleeding, not just for coins, but for dignity. And every small door we open, every kind word we speak, every sandwich we share, every listening ear we render, every simple act of respect we extend becomes the place where Christ breaks through. Every time we feed, every time we welcome, every time we listen, we open doors for Christ himself. And one day, at the last door, we will hear his voice as the Gospel of Matthew reminds us. Come in. You saw me. You fed me. You welcomed me. Lazarus is too close not to notice. Too close not to see. Too close not to include.